Hello, everyone. The one called Fate knocks at your door. We're back with another episode of Tabletop Recap. I'm your longtime host, Hunt, and we also have Big Boy Chungus with us here yet again today. Say hello, Chungus.
Hi.
Yeah, I said say hello. I didn't say hi.
I don't
so,
care what you want.
Yeah.
You know why I don't care? We're no longer friends.
No.
You know why we're no longer friends. It's because of what we just played.
Because I didn't like that YouTube video you showed me?
No, it's because we played Monopoly.
Oh.
It ruined our friendship.
Okay, I was not in on that. I was not in on the joke you were going for. This is why we should write a script and be posers instead.
Oh man, improv all the way.
Instead of just saying what we feel like sissies. I'm just kidding.
You would know what that is like.
But yeah, today we're talking about Monopoly Fallout Edition. Flocka. Now give me a D20.
You both know you're just going to defer.
You roll yours. What'd you get?
10.
I got 8. You win.
Darn right I do. So, basically, we played the Fallout Collector's Edition of the classic Monopoly game. If you've ever played a Monopoly game in your life, and seeing as how long the game's been around, you probably have. There's not much.
Just give us real quick basic rules of Monopoly just in case.
Basically, Monopoly is the game of capitalism where you and your friends, up to 4, will begin rolling dice to try and land on various properties around the board.
I think it's 6.
Okay, 6.
Yeah, 2 to 6.
Up to 6 players. You try and gather as many pieces of property as you can in the goal of trying to create a monopoly where you own all of the property of the same color. By doing so, you're able to build up houses and hotels and build other things to increase the price of rent so that when other players land on said property, you can charge the heck out of them. Eventually, once everyone except the winner has gone bankrupt, the game is over. So just like real life. You try and start up a company, bankrupt everybody until you're the only rich person standing. Looking at you, Bezos.
Bezos, you dumb thumb. Bezos, please buy us out. I'm not kidding. I've made $4 on this podcast. Bezos, please.
You gotta fight the power.
I simp for Bezos.
You simp.
But yeah, so I was going over the rules because I hadn't played Monopoly since I was in like middle school, maybe. And that was on the Xbox.
Yeah, when the computer does all the math for you.
Yeah. A friend of mine and I were just getting our butts whooped by the boss in Monopoly on the Xbox. That was fun. But yeah. Was going through the rules and it said special rules on back, and I was like, oh, maybe there are special Fallout rules. But then I flipped it over and it was just rules for a faster game.
Yeah, so that's the thing with all the Monopoly collector's editions. They're all pretty much just the same game. There are different house rules that you can implement, and some of those rules even made it to like the modern video games of it. But those are all really optional. We decided to play it the classic way where everyone starts off with the basic amount of money and no properties, and you only earn what you land on.
What are some house rules that you used?
Well, there's one house rule where you actually are allowed to make money while you're in prison. I don't personally like that rule, but I've played games where that is the case. There's a house rule where free parking is actually a space where you can actually earn money. Because there's 2 tax spaces. There's like state tax and federal tax on the board. And when you land on that, you give a certain percent of your money or a flat rate to the bank, basically. But in the house rules, that money doesn't go to the bank. It goes to what you call the pot, where you put it in the middle of the board between the community chest and the chance cards. And whoever lands on free parking first when the pot is full or has money in it, that person who lands on free parking gets all that money. So basically, you can go however many rounds you want by landing on the tax spaces and not on free parking, and then at the very last minute, someone lands on free parking and they get like $2,500.
Yeah, that wouldn't be super great. Yeah, I definitely didn't want to play with that rule.
And I respected that because that could be, and let's be honest, Monopoly was made by a communist to promote communism and show how evil capitalism was. But because it became the best-selling game, it promoted capitalism.
Capitalism is evil, but not as evil as communism.
So yeah, it's I just lost my train of thought for a second.
A warning against the dangers of capitalism, I would say.
So, oh yeah, I remember what my point was. My point was that once you start losing this game, it is incredibly hard to get back up. Eventually, whoever has the most money gets to a point where you owe them more than what you can make, and eventually you go bankrupt. We actually conceded a little bit earlier than what normally would have ended the game because I said, "There's no way I'm getting out of this."
Yeah, you didn't even have $100, and I had several $100. Yeah, and I had all the railroads and
I thought I was doing a really good job. Like I had a moment in the game where I thought I was going to break you, but then at some point I had to wind up selling houses to pay you off for the properties you had, and then because you had houses and I did not, even when the times you were landing on my property, I wasn't making enough to pay you off when I landed on your property. And I just said, you know what? It's late. I'm hungry, and I know this is just going to end with me losing inevitably.
yeah, we were both hungry.
So this particular version is Monopoly Fallout. So instead of all of your classic Monopoly spaces like Boardwalk and the Park Place, Baltic Avenue, all those, it's replaced with Fallout locations from all four of the main titles: Fallout's 1 through 3 and Fallout's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. There are a couple of new Vegas references, and I think some of the community chest, which are now special cards, and the chance cards, which I don't exactly remember where they were transferred to.
They were like survival.
Oh yeah, Wasteland Survival Guide books, or pages, I should say. So yeah, and unfortunately, that's just all. That's it about that game. I mean, it's just Monopoly with a Fallout skin on it. You still have your classic get out of jail free stuff. You have the money is just it's no longer dollars, it's caps, but it's still paper.
Yeah.
I would say it'd be really cool if they actually did have caps as the currency, but you'd need a whole nother box just to hold those.
Yeah. The game pieces are different, obviously.
Yeah,
like there's a little. There was one that's the power armor helmet. There's one that's like a Nuka-Cola. There's an atomic
vault
bomb.
door, atomic bomb. There's it's all still metal cast, but it's all Fallout pieces instead of your classic Monopoly board game pieces.
Yeah, nothing's really changed except the look of it. Like, like I don't see a point in getting another Monopoly game. Like, I'm not gonna pick up the Godzilla one, that's for sure.
Yeah, and there are other Monopoly games. Like, there's the one that runs pretty much all on digital currency and credit cards. There's one that's meant. They actually have skyscrapers that you can build up that represent, how much property you own.
There's a cheaters edition now.
Yeah, apparently. I really don't want to play that. Like, the regular edition already ruins friendships. You really want to be throwing around actual cheaters?
Okay, I wonder what the pitch meeting for that was like. Like, okay, guys, it's just Monopoly over again, but cheating is illegal.
It's basically like that episode of Venture Bros where the monarch goes to the bank and he's like, I need to make a withdrawal. And there's like, you're overdrawn. He's like, no, this is a robbery. That's Monopoly for cheaters.
And then the Brown Widow kicks his butt. Classic. Gonna miss that show.
Unless they bring it back. I've already signed the petition for it.
Same girl, same.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is not like those games. It's just standard Monopoly with a Fallout paint job. As much as I am a Fallout geek, the novelty does wear off once you've played it a few times. At that point, it's just Monopoly.
I feel like whenever they give it this reskin, there should be some kind of, like, at least one bonus rule to make it that's, like, inspired by the game. Like, let's take the Godzilla one, for example. I haven't seen it, but it's probably just the same game, but with the Godzilla skin. A good thing for that would be, instead of having all the little game pieces be monsters, there would be like an extra game piece that's Godzilla, and if you roll a certain number, you can move him to a space that like someone's built a building on, and you can destroy a building on
Yeah.
that space. Kind of like Catan moving the robber around.
Hmm. I don't know how that would work for Fallout because Fallout's always been convoluted in its own way. We could probably homebrew a rule for it, but I don't know if we could come up with one that would work for an entire episode.
I don't know that much about Fallout to be completely honest. I have New Vegas, but I suck at it, and I have 3, but it won't play. So, so
Welcome to Bethesda, where the rules are made up and the code doesn't matter.
code doesn't matter. Oh jeez. Oh jeez.
Maybe it'll start mattering now that they are owned by Bill Gates.
So, what's so full thoughts on Monopoly Fallout?
It's just a fresh coat of paint on a classic game. There's nothing really inherently wrong with it. We had a lot of fun playing it. There's just nothing super special about it.
Yeah.
If you like Monopoly and you happen to like Fallout 2, go get it. Would recommend. If you like one or the other, not so much. And if you don't like either, well, then I really wouldn't recommend buying this.
Yeah, in my opinion, if you already have a regular Monopoly game that's reskinned or just the basic edition, there's no need to get it if you don't already have one.
I mean, this is a collector's edition. I really like to meet anyone who actually is collecting all of these Monopoly games. Like they just have a warehouse full of all the different types of Monopoly games and editions.
There probably is someone collecting that, but I think it's more for people like you who are collecting Fallout things.
Probably.
I think that's more the appeal, is to get another Fallout game. Speaking of Fallout games, we're going to play Fallout, the board game New California expansion at some point from Bethesda and who else ever made it. But that's going to be a while because we want to space it out from our last Fallout episode and this Fallout episode, to be completely honest. As usual, we still have Settlers of Catan, Risk Starfinder, Cranium,
Betrayal at House on the Hill,
The Game of Things, Power Rangers action card game, Magic the Gathering, Pokemon trading card game, Dragon Ball Super trading card game. Still,
and any upcoming Dungeons and Dragons stories that we will have for our 2 groups.
And we're going to talk about those Dungeons and Dragons item and monster cards and stuff as well.
Yeah.
Those are going to get an episode about them too. But did we already tell them about what we're gonna do after Descent into Avernus? We already did.
Yeah.
We already did reveal that we were thinking of doing Tomb of Horrors, but I think what we're gonna, because we talked to G, and I think what we're gonna do now is once Descent into Avernus is over, when the Baldur's Gate is over, we're gonna slap 2 adventures on the table and let everyone vote on one.
I think what we should do is, because Tomb of Horrors is not a full campaign. That is...
It's just a dungeon.
It's an encounter. I'd say that we can have them run that if they want to after Descend into Avernus, and then let them choose what full campaign they want to do next. I recommended Waterdeep because it's a great breath of fresh air if you're doing something like Descent into Avernus, because it's, more social and a more urban setting, whereas Descent is a open world Mad Max high octane energy type deal. Or, I can order Storm King's Thunder if they want to do that, and we would decide to do that next. Or they can pick from Tomb of Annihilation, Ghost of Strahd,
Curse of Strahd, Ghost of Saltmarsh.
Ghost of Saltmarsh, Curse of Strahd, Waterdeep Dungeon of the Mad Mage. I'm also gonna get the Rime of the Ice Maiden at some point, so we could also run that.
Oh, I definitely want to do that one. Oh, so badly. But I'm thinking what we should do is have them play Tomb of Horrors after Descent into Avernus. They'll be level 13, but I think we should give them like a 2-level bump.
And they could go up more levels. Like, there could be just a day where they decide to ride around Avernus just fighting mobs and leveling up.
Just doing random encounters, yeah. But still, that's a lot of work for those 2 levels. But I think since Tomb of Horrors is so infamously dangerous, if they're not level 15 by the time they go in, we should just let them go straight to 15.
Yeah.
Since that'll be the last romp for their characters anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we should do That, and then I think we should slap Waterdeep Dragon Heist and Curse of Strahd on the table and let everyone vote on them.
Those are two really good campaigns for low level characters. Curse of Strahd, we both know all about that one, and Waterdeep Dragon Heist. I personally hope they choose Waterdeep.
Yeah, you have been itching to run that forever.
Yes,
I'm
that
surprised.
was.
I'm surprised you didn't run that instead of Avernus.
Well, I talked to the guys individually. I talked to Glendon, I talked to Connor, and I talked to
D Legend.
D Legend after we decided we needed more people, and they were all for. I said, okay, without telling you what the module is called, would you rather have a gangster urban setting, an open world Mad Max vehicle setting, or a jungle exploration setting? And they all say, dude, Mad Max sounds cool. And I said, okay, we're going to hell.
Drag me to hell. Except less offensive against the Romani people.
Yep. So that's how we chose to send into Avernus. And I just said, okay, I need you to either pick a character that you've already created or make a new one and expect for a lot of dark, negative atmospheres.
Speaking of offensive against the Romani people, we're going to have to change some stuff in Curse of Strahd when we run it.
We will. And I'm going to read ahead because when I purchased Curse of Strahd, it was not the edited edition. So, of course, the Romani, or as they're called, the Gypsies.
That's that. You can't say that anymore.
Oh, you can't?
No.
Even if I'm quoting someone else who...
You haven't been able to say that word ever, but just no one was aware that you weren't supposed to say that word because no
Well,
one...
1990s Disney movies did me dirty then. But anyways, I apologize for that. That was not me calling anyone out. That was just how other people I've heard refer to them as.
Yeah, it's such a common word that when I was saying Romani, people probably didn't even connect them.
So, yeah, because I thought the Romani was just the Dungeons and Dragons. This tells you how ignorant I am about this.
They're called the Vishtani, I think, in Curse of Strahd. We both, I'm not gonna lie, we watched Puff and Forrest's playthrough, and you didn't watch the DM chat after, but I think you should because he talks about what he changed to make them less stereotypes because they're huge, very negative, very offensive stereotypes. All they do is like steal and curse people in Curse of Strahd, and it's like that's really offensive.
Yeah. I mean, you could have a group that does that, but they don't need to be Romani.
They do not need to be just
like,
straight up
make
copy
make
and
them
paste
like
Romani.
make them like several groups of hags that are inherently evil by nature.
Well, they already got hags, but
well, you could do like green hags or
I think you should just take the Vistani and just make them normal people. That's all you have to do.
Yeah.
Just make them nicer, normal people that don't want to constantly betray and steal from everybody. Just make them normal people.
Yeah. And yeah, so I didn't know about all that. So again, I apologize if I offended anybody. Not my intent. I was just merely quoting what I've heard from other sources.
Yeah, so we got to change that in Curse of Strahd for sure.
Because I can't afford to buy a brand new book of the same module. I would much rather just edit it myself to be kosher than do that.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I think G is really excited for Curse of Strahd. I bet he would vote for that over Waterdeep.
Well, we'll see. I'll tell them straight up, since this is their first real campaign, afterwards what they may want to do. And D Legend and Connor, who don't know as much about the story, I can give them a little bit of an overview. Like, this is the main theme of the story. This is the setting. It's darker or more lighthearted. It's more challenging or it's more social. Tell me what you want, and this is what it is.
Yeah, I think the choices we should give them after Tomb of Horrors are definitely Curse of Strahd and Waterdeep Dragon Heist. And then after Waterdeep Dragon Heist, if that's what they pick, then we'll just throw Curse of Strahd back in there and Dungeon of the Mad Mage since it's the sequel anyways.
I gotcha.
But I do think we should do a Tale from the Yawning Portal between every one of these.
They're like a palate cleanser.
Yeah, like just something short between everything. Because we got to get through that book too. I mean... So one of those needs to be done like between, like if once, like say we do Waterdeep Dragon Heist and they end it at like level 5, find a level 5 adventure in Tales of the Yawning Portal and just throw them into that. I say throw them into it like they wouldn't be down, but they'd be down as long as they're playing, to be honest.
Yeah. And they know, well, most of them know what Tomb of Horrors is. Like when I say, hey, you guys interested in running Tomb of Horrors? You're like, isn't that the one where Gary Gygax straight up said he wants to mess with the players? I said, not just mess with them. That's like his middle finger to the players.
Yeah, I mean, I survived it, so if I can survive it.
Yeah, I totally survived it. It doesn't matter that 4 of my
Yeah.
party members had to die in order for me to win.
Yeah, 6 went in, 2 came out. Well, 2 came out with their original characters they went in with.
Some call it cruel and unusual. I call it natural selection.
I absolutely call it natural selection of sorts. Spock, the half-elf cleric, will never die. He was the best character I ever played, for sure. Cleric with authority problems.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's good. He was like forced into the clergy by his family. He didn't want to, like, he worshipped the gods and everything, but he didn't want to be in the clergy, but they forced him into it, so he crossed his fingers during his vows and he pees on statues because they made him in high school, and it was cringe, but...
Yeah, you played like a middle schooler, I'm sure.
High schooler.
Not much better.
No, it's not. It's absolutely not. Yeah, I think that's it for today. Thank you all very much for tuning in to the newest episode of Tabletop Recap. If you want more, please be sure to subscribe. We got a lot more coming. Lots of trading card games coming up. I think the next episode might actually be over a trading card game. Either that or Dungeons and Dragons if we have a session. We need a session. Oh, Lord, we need a session. Been a while. But that's it. Thank you all once again. Remember, if you're listening to this on YouTube, it goes up earlier on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and such, so definitely listen to it in a place that streams podcasts instead of YouTube. YouTube's mostly just more to help people find it. But that is it. Thank you all once again for your support, and I'll see you all next time.